mamas. Today we're going to get into mom rage. When you're seething inside over anything and everything like a simmering boiling pot, pretty distressing as you try to make it through the day, or you get triggered unexpectedly and super reactive in a way that feels surprising. You might say something, an outburst just coming out of you towards your infant or your child or your partner or your mom. And then there may be remorse or feeling badly about yourself when it happens. Sometimes I hear from moms that it can feel satisfying in the moment, like a satisfying discharge, because so much is unsaid and it's being suppressed inside. So it can give a short-term satisfying feeling. And it can show up in any of these scenarios. Mom rage can look like any of this. But it's pretty distressing because even if there is a short-term satisfaction, long-term, it's not fun to be seething, and it's not fun to see the impact that we can make on others when it comes out. Now, saying that really quickly before I get into what I'm going to get into in the podcast to help, I want to say, give yourself grace, because this is a huge adjustment, becoming a parent, or whether it's your second or third or fourth child. It's always an adjustment. Everybody's readjusting. In our contemporary society, there isn't enough support for moms and families. And so it's a lot of pressure. And it's also hard to adjust in our relationships, right? To have the emotional availability, to know or have the comfort of how to ask for what we need, to trust that our partners or people around us are going to be responsive to our needs. And so there's so much here that's fraught. So I hope any of you listening here that have experienced this or not, don't be hard on yourself. Just know that it's actually a really important signal, a signal where you need to tend to something in yourself, and also likely with your partner or someone in your life. And something is happening in the family dynamic day to day that's just not working. Okay. So again, actually, I think professionals can sometimes overfocus or see this as a mom issue. Remember, I'm here to share that nothing is just an individual issue. Everything here that we talk about is a family issue. This is not a mom thing. This is not a you thing. It's a we thing. What is happening in your family system that is leading to this kind of dysregulation? I'm not saying that we're not accountable for our behaviors in any way, but usually there is something going on reciprocally, like a loop that's going on in our partnership, in our family dynamics, that's not working, that's not healthy. So this can be a really helpful signal that something isn't right and something needs tending to. Look, it's quite common. I see this so much in my years of work with moms and couples. And actually, I've seen this be an opening and a way into more opportunities for your relationship, for closeness and for repair in this big adjustment. Our loved ones don't always know how to express their concern or protectiveness. They don't always know what we need to hear as moms. And we moms don't always know how to spell out what we need or what we're looking for, or we may be scared that if we do express needs, they will be rejected or there will be a reaction that's hurtful. So sometimes there's this avoidance around actually addressing things for many reasons. And when things don't get addressed, it's going to go into a lot of suppression. It's going to come out sideways like mom rage. So let's just briefly go over what this can look like. Again, sudden, an explosive, volcanic anger that is not really in line with maybe what's happening in the moment, that it seems almost disproportionate or something that's confusing maybe to someone else, like, whoa, where did that come from? You might even surprise yourself. There can be kind of regular snapping at your partner or your kids, and then immediately oh no, why did I do that? I didn't want to say that, or, oh, but not really having the ability to stop yourself, and it kind of happens a lot. A big one is feeling edgy, just overwhelmed. Your body's constantly tense or bracing. I've worked with a lot of moms that aren't even aware about what's happening in their bodies, that there's so much tension and that even their fists might be clenched a lot, or their jaw might be clenched. Their chest might feel tight. And then inside, could be having a lot of intrusive thoughts, angry thoughts that you would never act on, but they're kind of like rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat in your mind in a way that can be disturbing or surprising to you. What is this? So This is not actually anger. We call it mom rage or anger, but it's something different. It's actually a reaction to anxiety. So when you're at a tipping point, you're exhausted, maybe you're not getting the gratitude or the appreciation or just being seen for everything you're doing, how you're showing up for your child or children and your partner in the house and everything, and not being seen for that, there's going to be feelings about that, right? There might be feelings about the change and things you miss from before children, things you miss in general that have been lost in this transition. Having to be so strong, so available, so giving when your needs aren't getting met, right? There's going to be a lot of feelings about this. There's obviously love for your family. There might also be grief around all the changes. There might be anger as a feeling towards people in your life that aren't showing up in the way that you wish they would show up. And when there are these mixed feelings, anxiety is going to show up, on top, by the way, right? On top of being exhausted, depleted, you're not getting enough sleep. Who knows if you're eating enough? And it's too much. And so the capacity gets really, really thin to be able to tolerate all of this, which is natural. And then anxiety is going to come up. So remember, anxiety is not a feeling. Anxiety is when feelings are getting suppressed and they're not getting felt or experienced or shared. So anxiety shoots up. And then it's reactivity. So mom rage is actually reactivity. Intrusive thoughts, this is the way that we're managing anxiety. It's not our actual feelings. So we need to make the distinction between the behaviors that are coming out, intrusive thoughts, snipping, yelling, ruminating on things over and over. Those are like reactions. Those are ways of dealing with anxiety, because tuning into ourselves and someone else tuning into us is not happening enough. So again, this reactivity is like a signal. This is not a reflection on your character. It's a signal that something is off. If you want to start a podcast or grow your existing one, Juliana Barbati and her team have you covered. They handle the entire process from building episode funnels to production and marketing, so you can focus on reaching your audience. Visit julianabarbati.com and let them know I sent you. So we have to see what's happening under that reactivity and anxiety. What are the root emotions? So underneath reactivity and rage, reactivity and intrusive thoughts and that simmering, ruminating over and over on thoughts are usually core feelings that are blocked. If you've listened to some of my other episodes, you'll know that I know I'm going to make some therapists mad that are listening to this, but I hate the emotions wheel. I want to throw it out the window every time I see it. It's mixed with thoughts and defenses, and they're not core feelings on that wheel, so ignore that. Feelings are either sadness, grief, love, pride, surprise, disgust. These are core feelings, anger. And so again, there might be sadness and grief over the loss of your independence and a sense of freedom, a loss of support in this new stage where you need more support and you're not getting it, a love and longing in your love for intimacy and just being kind of overwhelmed with the love that's coming up towards your child. The protectiveness can be so great and so profound. And anger towards other people that are not showing up in the way that you really need them to. So if all of that is going to get mixed and suppressed, and if it's uncomfortable to have a mix of anger and love for your child, for your partner, for your mother, whoever it is, people in your life, well, if that message is running on a loop, no, you shouldn't be feeling this. You should only be feeling love and nothing else. Only gratitude, only love. Well, that's going to make it worse. Okay, that's actually going to prime you for more and more reactivity, because it's like telling your body and brain and heart, don't feel this. It's like saying deny your humanity in this moment where, God, we're so raw and vulnerable, and actually all of our humanity is getting touched in such dramatic, profound ways in the stage of motherhood, right? So if all of this is getting suppressed and we're like, no, we just need to prioritize everybody else's needs and stay grateful and nice, quote unquote, right? And just keep moving, well, that's going to be a pressure system. And actually, what we call mom rage is not actually the feelings of anger that are there, but it's like a pressure valve. Poof. I'm suppressing so much. Poof. it's going to come out sideways. It's going to come out as aggression. It's going to come out as snippiness, right? And it's going to be amplified when, again, hey, we're dealing with hormonal shifts. We're dealing with, hey, we haven't slept. Everybody seems to need us so intensely, right? It's chaos. There's no routine. And we just don't have, again, space to ourselves to breathe and support, right? Please remember, I talk about this a lot, but the way we are raising children in contemporary society is not the way we were meant to raise them. We were meant to be in groups of many people, many relatives and friends, sharing responsibilities and having a lot of support. We're too much on our own right now, so that makes it harder. When this rage is coming out, it's almost like it's a block from actually just tuning in and feeling authentically what we are really sitting with. What is uncomfortable? Something's really uncomfortable to sit with when there's mom rage. Either feelings towards our own experience, towards our children, towards our partner. Remember, if you're going to keep suppressing it, it's just going to keep getting worse. It's maintaining that anxiety boiling pot where it's just simmering, simmering, simmering. You're going to have more physical tension, and actually the body can just get in a fight or flight state of panic. Imagine if there's water behind a dam and the water's trying to just burst. Eventually the dam's going to just go, well, the rage, the reactivity, the snapping or withdrawing or the resentment or jaw tension, body tension, stomach pain, all of that is like right? It's that tension of the water behind the dam. Something needs to be released. Okay. Unfortunately, what I see so many moms suffer with is already this is suffering. I mean, already sitting with all these repressed emotions and the anxiety around it and the reactivity and the tightness is already, like I call it a medieval torture device. You're just sitting in something that's torturing you, right? But then something that makes it worse is then when there's a self-attack. And it's so sad when I sit with moms and I see this. And I remember going through this with both children, actually, in certain moments. With the second one, it was better, but there are moments where it's hard to sit with our feelings and it goes to, something's wrong with me. Why can't I handle this? Why am I so reactive? I should be able to be calm and just have composure all the time. I remember once it was after my first and I went to a park. I just wanted to get outside a little bit. I had my baby in the baby carrier and I was just feeling so on edge and unsettled. And I saw this mom next to me and she had these 3 kids and they were playing and she looked so serene and peaceful, so grounded. And immediately I just thought, God, why can't I be like that? What's wrong with me? This is the way to be. I should just be grateful and happy. And here's my baby. And God, it makes it even worse. And actually, it doesn't help anything. I ask moms a lot, is this useful for you? Is this helpful? And they say, well, I got to stay accountable, as if staying accountable means we have to attack ourselves to stay accountable. Oh, that's not true. Actually, it makes it harder to stay accountable, to be able to change behaviors that we want to change or to help ourselves do that, because we're just getting knocked down. It just makes you feel, when you feel down, that's not the energy that actually gets us in a productive, helpful state of, okay, what do I need here? In a regulated state of, what's going on for me? What do I need to be able to show up better for myself, right? You're not going to be in that place. You're going to be in a dark place, in a solitary place. It also makes it much, much harder when you're in like a shame cycle. When you have the reactivity, go in a shame cycle, it's more suppression. Actually, it leads to suppressing even more and then lashing out more. So it's going to keep that system going, that internal cycle, right? Lashing out, shame for lashing out. Oh, then I better suppress more, all my feelings. Oh, that's not going to work. And it's going to keep coming out sideways. So I want to talk a little bit about what you can do as a mom to find some relief in this cycle and what your partner can do. And when I talk about what your partner can do, this can either be if you want to bring your partner in to listen to this. This could also be another adult in your life. This could be your mom or just anybody who's a support system in your life this can apply to. And whether they listen or not, if they don't listen, these can also be things that you ask for from them. So for you listening, this is an opportunity to slow down and turn inward. What am I actually feeling under the anxiety? Notice what's going on physically for you. Where's the tension? Is your jaw tense? Is your brow furrowed? Are your arms clenched? Are your feet going side to side? If anxiety is really high, you might feel actually even a little nauseous or butterflies in your stomach. Your head might feel zoomy. That's a lot of anxiety if you're feeling that. So when you start to get aware and just go into observing mode, almost like you're a scientist. It's almost like you step out of the spiral and you're like a scientist observing in a lab coat. What's going on in my body? What are the thoughts racing through my mind? That in itself can help calm. And if you focus on just core feelings, really core feelings, if you're feeling lonely, maybe you're angry at someone for not coming more closely to you, for not making you feel less alone and showing up in a certain way. If you are exhausted, I wonder again if there's some anger depleted about not getting the help that you really want or need. If you're upset about not being validated or appreciated, I know this sounds repetitive, but I want to share just some examples. These are really common examples where there might be anger at someone, at your partner, people in your life not saying, I see how much you're doing. I'm here for you. I think it's amazing how you are with the baby. You guys look so beautiful together, cuddling. I know, how much you've put into feeding or whatever it is, or tuning into how to soothe the baby, whatever it is, to really be seen. Okay. Also, now this is a tricky one. This is one that's really hard for moms to hear. And remember, feelings are different than behavior, but moms often have mixed feelings towards their children. And then there's this thing of like, what? I'm only supposed to feel love and protectiveness, and this baby's relying on me. And it feels like a threat, actually, to women. And there's a lot of guilt, massive guilt when this happens. This can lead to a lot of repression and then mom rage sometimes, which is normal sometimes. Again, I'm not talking about behaviors. I'm not talking about ever like lashing out at the baby or, I'm not saying we're trying to say that's okay, but the feelings themselves of being irritated, if our baby's waking us up constantly, there's probably going to be irritation. It doesn't even have to be logical. Of course, the baby is going to be waking up. That's logical, but we're going to be irritated, and we might be irritated at our partner sleeping and snoring next to us while we're waking up, right? That kind of irritation is normal. It doesn't mean it doesn't coexist with massive love. But remember, love and anger or irritation can coexist. We can love our baby and still grieve the independence that we used to have and the freedom. And they're not at odds. Really listen to this. This is going to be really helpful. I've seen this give so much relief to so many moms in my office. When you can accept that it's completely natural to have mixed feelings towards those we love, a lot of that pressure can release. This is normal. It's okay. And maybe we need help. Maybe we need acknowledgement of that from others as well. Allow yourself to need help. Again, something I see so often is moms who want to feel like, no, I got this. I don't want to ask. I want to be resilient. That being a good mom means they can handle everything. This is not natural. These are like societal expectations on us that are not realistic expectations of moms and families. So if you notice that there are blocks for you in asking for help, needing help, acknowledging that you want help, expressing your needs and knowing you have a right to ask for your needs to be met, that's going to be a barrier to your own inner peace. And you might need help through therapy. I'm going to be releasing coaching programs soon. You can reach out to me too if you want some one-on-one or to sign up for future programs coming up. I help with this. Rage often points to what's unspoken, right? What is getting unspoken? It could be resentment, unmet needs. What always comes up is division of labor, imbalances, and responsibilities. And so knowing that you have a right to feel your feelings, that you have every right that they are natural, can bring a lot of calm. And knowing that you have every right to ask, I'm overwhelmed, I need help in this area. So partners or other adults need to help moms with this. This is not something moms should be dealing with on their own. Okay, so whether you're a partner listening or you're a mom who can communicate this to a partner or another adult, this is what can be helpful. Take the reactivity as a signal, not as an attack, even though, yes, it feels like an attack. But if you take it as a signal, you can respond with curiosity. Hey, you seem really rattled. What's going on inside? Something feels really hard. That's okay. Can you let me into what's going on? All right. Often partners want to problem solve. That is not what moms usually need right away. They want to know you're in it with them But first, show up with curiosity and validation. Can you help me understand? Can you let me know something feels really heavy? Can you describe to me what this is like for you? Again, I know that it sounds so counterintuitive to partners usually, but it's so much more helpful to just be present in that way rather than to go into, okay, what do we need to do? Do you know that almost can land as dismissive to moms. Reassuring moms, hey, you're not too much. Don't be hard on yourself. This is really hard. I want to help you. I want to show up. This has just been too heavy for you. You're going through, a world of adjustments. You might even say, I know it's uncomfortable for you to come to me sometimes and ask me, but please do. And I'm going to get more check-in so that it doesn't always have to be an effort on mom's part. Moms need to feel like their struggle is being seen. And when you check in regularly, you're showing, hey, I'm aware that you're going through a lot. Also know that your nervous system is going to affect mom's nervous system. So if mom's sharing something with you, or, moms, if I'm talking to you, your partners aren't here, if you're sharing something, if someone else is able to stay calm, maybe not right away, but to get to a calmer place, that's also going to help you be calm. So it's almost like a contagion between partners, where if one is like super anxious, you can actually get co-regulated from a partner if they bring, a kind of grounded presence. This is something we do for our kids. Our kids borrow our regulation as well. That's how they learn to self-regulate. But we could do that for each other as adults as well. And that's going to help a mom's nervous system feel calmer and safer. And the reactivity is going to de-escalate much faster. So listen here, these are things to avoid. Try not to get defensive. It's not going to help. You may have things that you want to share and that you're upset about, and that's fine, but it may not be the time, especially like in the acute postpartum time right after birth. And it may be for another moment, and you're going to have to choose, like, is this the moment for this, or can I table this? Lecturing or dismissing, trying to rationalize, like, well, we should just be grateful, or if you just see the bright side of things, or at least such and such. No. That is going to actually feed into the self-attack that moms go through. And that's going to feed into, I think, the shame and suppressing spiral for moms. So sometimes for you moms, when you're asking for what you need, you can say, hey, I know you want to be helpful, but right now what I really need is just for you to be curious, to listen and to try to understand, and not to rationalize away what I'm feeling. Because sometimes that comes from just trying to rescue you from your feelings, but that's not helpful. I don't need to be rescued from my feelings. I actually need you to just sit in my feelings with me and help me feel like I'm not alone here, okay? And physically, slow down your voice, relax your body, right? Make eye contact, okay? And validate. I can see how overwhelming this is. All these feelings make sense, etc. It doesn't mean you have to agree with everything. It just means you understand. And continue to get curious about what's going on underneath the reactivity. The reactivity is a signal that something's off, or that something's over capacity. So just tuning in, being curious, and checking in without being asked. Try to anticipate needs and checking in what would be most supportive. One really powerful statement is, you don't have to be strong with me. You don't have to hold it all together with me. And I've seen these beautiful moments, let me tell you, in my sessions with couples where a partner will say that to a mom and she will just let go. I mean, her whole body will go almost limp and she will just cry and be comforted. And it is an incredibly restorative experience for her individually and for a couple. So I'd actually like to just end on that lovely note. Be with yourself, be with each other in the feelings that are under the anxiety. Feelings are natural, they're your humanity. And so the more we tune into those feelings, the more the anxiety will decrease and the reactivity will decrease. And this happens much faster when we have a partner or another adult who can respond with validation, curiosity, who normalizes and reassures. And that is going to be regulating so much faster. That is why I'm here trying to share with everybody. Please look at the connections that you have. Tend to your connections, your relationships, because relief will come through healthy relationships much faster than if we go at things trying to figure everything out by ourselves. These are family matters. These are relationships. It's not all on you. Subscribe to my podcast so you can get notified when there's a new episode, and click on the link below if you want to reach out for more help from me through my coaching offerings. I'm here for you and your family. See you next week. Goodbye.